Hey peeps, we are back. We are talking The Real Housewives of New York, season 13, episode 4. Before I get into the episode, I want to let you guys know that I will be going on vacation starting Saturday. I'll be gone for about a week, so there will not be a story time this Saturday. I am working on getting all the housewife videos posted before I leave for vacation, but we'll see what happens. Wish me luck with filming, editing, and posting. Editing takes forever. Anyway, let's just get on to the show.
Don't blame me on the drinking. It's my family. Hello, your family hasn't paid for your bills. So why are you so concerned of JP Morgan? What's wrong with you, bitch? Yeah. What's wrong with you? No. Get real. Guess what? You don't have anything to rely on. Friends.
You know, Sonja needs some help. I think as friends of hers, and I truly do believe that Ramona and LuAnn care a great deal about Sonja. I think as a friend, if Sonja was my friend, I would definitely take away all the beverages. I would take her home, and the next morning I would definitely have a sit-down conversation with her. Maybe a mini intervention. I would explain to her that I definitely get it. I know that she's lonely. I know that she, is going through some sort of financial problems. I know that she's definitely going through something, but this is not how you take care of it. You don't take care of your problems by drinking, because it makes matters worse. And then she's always mentioning about medications that she also takes. Mixing medication with alcohol is never a good combination. And there's so much to love and like about Sonja, but when she acts out this way, it's just not cute. Especially when she wants to keep harping on her being a Morgan. I don't see any other Morgans, acting out like this. I mean, not that I know any other Morgans, because I don't, but I'm pretty sure that the actual Morgan Stanley Chase Morgans are not being, disruptive at fancy 5-star restaurants. I don't know. I want Sonja to do better. This situation is really hard on LuAnn, because LuAnn starts having flashbacks of her behavior when she was drinking, and it's tempting her, to drink. She says the stress and pressure makes her, want to drink. So this is not a good environment for LuAnn to be in. Ramona's thinking about her father, who was an alcoholic, and he was allegedly abusive, according to her. So she's stressed out by all this. LuAnn tells her to just stop fueling the fire with Sonja. So Ramona goes in and tries to make nice with Sonja and telling her, you know what, it's okay, I forgive you, let's go home. And on their way out the door, Sonja says to Ramona several times, I hate you, I hate you. And Ramona's just soothing her like a small child just to get her to the car. And don't think that I didn't notice that the whole time that Ramona and Sonja was having their issues, that Ebony continued to eat her steak. And you know what? I don't blame you, girl. There is no need to waste a good steak over Sonja's meltdown. It really isn't. Can I get a to-go box? I'm just saying. I am a mess. So the next morning, you have Leah and Ebony. They're both on the phone. Leah's on the phone with her sister talking about her grandmother and talking about how her mother is trying to control everything. Her mother is controlling who visits grandma, how much time they get. I think that her mom meant well. I think that she just didn't want her mother, their grandmother, to be alone. But I also think that she wanted her to be peaceful in her, last days. So she was trying to organize, these visitations. Ebony, on the other hand, her mom was telling her that she would like for her to make all of the decisions regarding her grandmother. She says that her grandmother is being taken care of, but she doesn't really have that quality of life. And she tells her that she would prefer Ebony to make the decisions when they, decide to take her off all of the machines and everything, because then it'll be Ebony's call. And I thought, oh gosh, Ebony handled it very well. She chuckled it off and told her mom, she says, no, you are not putting these decisions on me. I personally don't think that her mom was joking. I think her mom really does want Ebony to make these decisions. And, you know, I don't think that I would ever put that on my child. I don't want him to have to make the decision, something like that. I mean, not that my siblings would let him anyway, but you know what I mean? I think Ebony handled that very well. And I really do like the connection that she has with her mom. They are super close, and you can tell that her and her mom are best friends. And I love that. And I would love to see that with Leah and her mom. But I hate to say it, Leah's mom, she is something else. But then again, Leah is something else too. She really is. And she showed her crazy on this episode. I really do like that Ramona had that conversation with Sonja. She talked about her family moving away. Her family moved to Tennessee. Her daughter has moved out. She now has her own place. Her daughter is also in charge of all of her finances, all that good Morgan Chase money. And she's having these business problems. She doesn't have a man. So she's really sad and she's lonely right now. And I think she's using alcohol to cope. And I personally think she just needs some therapy. I really do. I think that it's great, I guess, to have that lady come over and crystallize you and work on your chakra and everything. I forget what that lady does. I don't exactly remember what that woman does. She had that bong type of thing and then all those crystals and everything. I don't know what that was, but I think on top of using this lady and the crystals and stuff, a real licensed therapist would be quality. And I don't want to call Sonja an alcoholic because I don't know if she's legitimately an alcoholic or if she's just somebody who is drinking too much right now. I don't know, but maybe ask LuAnn if you can go to some of those meetings, because even if you're not a true alcoholic, she could probably get a lot out of those meetings. I don't know. I just don't like seeing Sonja in this place that she's in right now. Now listen, Ramona has planned this breakfast at Tiffany's type event. You know, Leah had the Burning Man and now Ramona has this breakfast at Tiffany's, and she is setting everything up beautifully downstairs with the true Tiffany china. And you know, one thing that stuck out to me, Ramona knows the people that work for her. She knows their name. Okay. She said Michelle's name about 32 times. And later on in the evening, she knew the bartender's name. She said it multiple times. I said, look at you, Ramona. See, Ebony is working out for Ramona. She's helping her so far. She's having a conversation while setting up with LuAnn, and she lets LuAnn know that she spoke to Sonja. And while they were talking, she says, well, Sonja is really upset about Garth. She said, and I found out the reason she's upset about him is that she doesn't have anybody, and she's a little bit jealous that you know, have Garth, and she doesn't. And while she's having this conversation with LuAnn, Leah walks in.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just sharing something with you. I'm just in the middle of a conversation. Can you come back in 5 minutes? Thanks.
Cannot stand. How do you work for Ramona? She's a dumb bitch. I don't know how you work for her. It's really,
I love you, Leah.
Must be really difficult.
Michelle, can I have
Do I think that Ramona could have handled that a little better? Absolutely. But do I think that Leah was out of her daggone mind the way she reacted? Hey, yes!
So Ebony comes in and you're nice to her. Honestly, such a freaking bitch. It's insane.
What happened with the rest of my
She's
job?
a f***ing psychopath. Lies about COVID tests. She's a f***ing psycho.
Now listen, Ramona was a little dismissive, but the way Leah reacted was way too daggone much. And she uses the excuse of her grandmother being ill to have this behavior. And my thought is, no ma'am, no ma'am. Now listen, If you really wanted to be with your grandmother, you could have told the production team, I will come for a day, but I need to leave because I have to be with my grandmother. We have seen multiple seasons where these women have gone on trips and did all kinds of different events, and they have told production ahead of time, I've got to go. I mean, seriously, how many Housewives episodes have we seen where the girls were all together and somebody had to leave early? No, Leah, I'm sorry. I am truly sorry about your grandmother. But you cannot use your grandmother as a reason to haul off on Ramona the way you did. And the fact that you spoke to that woman like that in her own home, that is a no-go. Let me tell you something, honey. I would have thrown you out of my house.
Get the stepping!
You cannot speak to me disrespectfully like that in my own house. You are sleeping here. That's the 2 days in a row. When they were at the winery, she went off on Ramona, talked to her like she was crazy about that plasma thing, and I was with it. Okay? Because I do not believe that Ramona gave the blood plasma. I really don't. But at the same time, I didn't like how disrespectful you were to this woman while staying in her home. You can get Ramona together without being downright disrespectful. You are staying in this lady's house. So then all of a sudden the girls just separate. Ramona is venting to LuAnn, letting LuAnn know how she feels about the way Leah was behaving. Leah is upstairs. She's venting to Ebony and Sonja. Sonja is trying to give Leah as much love as she can possibly get. Garth is outside ringing the doorbell over and over and over again. I said, what in the world? Somebody come down here. Where are all the people that work there? Michelle, somebody come get this door. Garth is outside. All of a sudden, out of the blue, somehow LuAnn realizes that Garth is at the door. Well, Garth is there and all the girls are supposed to work out. Sonja is ticked off that Garth is even there. Then, of course, LuAnn had to let everybody know that Garth can make a mean lamb curry. So he's going to be making dinner for them. And now Sonja is upset about this as well. Leah has decided that she's going to take a vial of silence until 6 p.m. Ma'am, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. And Ebony is supposed to be her interpreter. What is this about? What grown person is willing to put up with this? I personally, no ma'am. If you don't have anything to say, neither do I. I am not about to sit here with you becoming a mime just today. You know, all of a sudden this morning you're upset. You're going to mime until 6 p.m.? No, ma'am. Is it me? Or is this ridiculous? It's ridiculous.
Can't talk? You okay? You have laryngitis?
She's going to be speaking again at 6 p.m. If you guys need something in emergency, you can let me know.
Ramona is so much nicer than me. I never thought I'd ever say that, ever. In the middle of this conversation that Sonja and LuAnn is having, all of a sudden Sonja brings up that Tom was hers before LuAnn married him. I said, why does she always have to bring this up? It's always the Tom, the Harry Dubins, and anybody else. And these girls, and that's what they do in this group. This group loves to pass a man around. I don't understand.
Guy, he married me, okay? He wasn't your guy. He was never your guy. He f***ed you one night. That's all you got.
Like
No, he
Harry.
wasn't.
How do you sleep
Oh,
with Harry?
now we're
when he
gonna
was
go back
mine?
to you. A lot of the guys know that you're friends with benefits, okay? So
Yes.
how far are you going with that?
Sonja is just truly going through something, and she really needs to be able to grieve all of her losses, including that husband, and move on. And she needs to move on from the whole Tom thing and the Harry Dubin situation. And the crazy thing about it is, why are they arguing about Tom? Why are they even worried about if Tom is her guy or he was her guy? Because in reality, Tom is for the streets. You know, we all know that Tom was cheating on LuAnn. He was probably cheating with Sonja. You know, and Tom and Lou's marriage lasted for what? 3 months? It wasn't the real deal for Tom. He's not LuAnn's or yours. Who cares about Tom? And the thing about it is, Ebony got all worked up and told LuAnn off for the way she spoke to Sonja. And I said, you know what? Sonja and LuAnn and Ramona, this is the way they are. This is the way they act. Then she mentions later, she says, wow, 10 minutes later, they're making up. That's how this group works. Personally, I also agree with Ebony when she makes the comments. If any of my girlfriends spoke to me the way Sonja, Ramona, and LuAnn speak to each other, that is a no-go. I would never talk to these girls anymore. I don't know. My relationships with my girlfriends mean something to me. They mean something to me. And I'm not going to be disrespectful to these women and then 10 seconds later tell them I love them and I'm so sorry. If you care about me, don't talk to me like this. I understand that LuAnn was just having, a moment, but Sonja's having multiple moments. This is getting to be ridiculous. Well, in the middle of all this arguing, LuAnn asked Sonja, was she jealous of Tom? And she said no. And then she asked her, she says, well, are you jealous of my relationship with Garth? And she says, no, I'm jealous that you spend more time with him than me. And LuAnn said the same thing I said. You haven't seen LuAnn for months. LuAnn says 10 months. At the very first episode, LuAnn and Ramona mentioned that Sonja had been curbing them all summer. Sonja, girl, that's a lie. I think you really are upset that LuAnn is out here living her single life, having a great time. And I think your financial problems has really just put a damper on your life and that social butterfly that you used to be. I mean, I just saw on the entertainment news, LuAnn has a new boyfriend. Garth is gone and in is this other guy down in Florida. And she looks happy. I said, daggone it. So it turns out that Leah's vow of silence lasted 2 or 3 hours. Leah says it was 3 hours. Sonja and the rest of the girls say it was 2 hours. She says that she's nervous about Heather coming. And now Ramona says she's nervous about Heather coming because all these ladies are going to tear her apart. Then Ramona lets the group know that she's staying the night. They all thought she was just swinging by. She's staying the night. And the first thing Sonja says is put her in the lower level. And LuAnn says, yes, the lower level. I said, if they don't quit playing, that's the basement. Anyway, when Heather gets there, she's put in the lower level and she called it the dungeon. Now, while they were getting ready for this breakfast at Tiffany's party, when Ramona was working on getting her updo ready, didn't her hair remind you of a flock of seagulls? The 80s group. I said, what is happening with Ramona's hair? And then she finished it up because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know she was, in the stages of doing something with it. It looked really pretty when she got finished with it. Heather came in all nice, smiling, hugging everybody. She asked Sonja to help her put her updo. Sonja said, absolutely not. I'm not helping her. Oh, Leah. She knew exactly what she was doing. And, it didn't go over that well to me at all because you just said, so you have a podcast? And then you came out and said, well, you said this stuff on your podcast. And I said, well, why did you start the conversation out with, so you have a podcast? Like you didn't know this woman had a podcast. If you want to get this stuff started, all you had to say was, hey girl, we heard your podcast or we read this article and you said X, Y, and Z. Don't even play with people. Stop it.
So Heather, you have a podcast too?
I do.
You said that LuAnn had done hard drugs when you guys were in St. Bart's.
If someone does drugs in front of me, I'm not saying it to anyone.
Okay, well, you can do you and I'll do me.
I thought that was a real friendship, but nothing really I learned with LuAnn is genuine.
Yeah, that's true.
What?
Yeah, that's true.
Listen, this whole dinner was mess. It's messy. The crazy thing is, Heather, she's not the back down kind of girl. You know what I mean? She earned her stripes working for Bad Boy in the 90s. Okay, she is not going to just back down. She absolutely admitted, well, most of the stuff that she said. She didn't really back down the way they thought she was going to. I mean, some things she tried to sugarcoat a little bit, but Heather's not the back down kind of girl. And LuAnn tried to say that Heather was using her to get some attention for her podcast. And you know, I can't really say that that's not true. You know, Heather is an ex-housewife. She is popular, but she's not as popular as LuAnn. So maybe she was using that to get some attention to her podcast. And if she was, do I blame her? Absolutely not. Because if I had some podcast that I had just put all this money into setting this up to get this out here, I'm going to use whatever I can. So Leah starts having this conversation about sex, and Ramona runs from the conversation. She runs out. She's tired of these conversations. Why does every conversation have to end with sex? And it's disgusting. It's not proper. You're sitting at this beautiful table in her beautiful house with this real Tiffany china, and you're talking about sex. The thing about it is Sonja talks about sex quite a bit. Ramona doesn't run from Sonja's sex talk, but she always runs from Leah's sex talk. Now, there was a little bit of Leah's sex talk at this table that was quite cringy, and I'm a bit of a prude in public, okay? But I don't like that conversation. You know, that one thing she said, I'm not into that at all. And I don't want to talk about it either. You know what I mean? I'm trying to eat. Do I need to imagine that while I'm at dinner? I'm in the kitchen with Ramona having several shots, okay? I'm not doing that. However, I do think that Ramona should stop judging Leah as harshly as she does, because Sonja, her ace, her buddy, she does the same thing. I'm just saying, oh gosh, this episode was okay. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next week. And until next time, bye.